This is what I'm going to show you how to make in this video. We're going to be talking about how to make drum and bass, jungle, breakcore. To go along in this video, you can grab this entire full template, the project file, samples, MIDI, and the presets. Literally everything that you just heard is available right at the top of the description on my website. Don't miss out. The link is at the top of the description, guys. And this is one of the few things that you can do right now that will instantly take your tracks to the next level. I promise you that the day that you grab this, it will be like a night and day. Like, going from not having this to having this and being able to really make the best music of your career and get where you've been trying to get. Stop getting stuck. Click the link at the top of the description now. It's literally just $5 for the super high quality template, and it'll really help you take your tracks to the next level. Thank you so much for the support, guys. I don't make a whole lot off of YouTube, so if you've enjoyed these videos, this really helps keep me going so I can keep bringing you guys more videos like this. Thank you so much for the support, like I said, and let's dive in. Alright, we're at 170 BPM. First thing we have up here would be the main chords. So as you can hear, it's this rich, very lush pad. And that starts with the MIDI. I think when a lot of people hear these, they think it's, all these different things that are happening in the sound. And the sound actually is pretty intricate. I'll show it to you and you'll see why it's so lush. It definitely is the sound. But this is not going to work, and it's not going to sound lush and beautiful when you have a good sound, unless you really put the time in here to get the right chords. So what you're getting here is basically this movement between D sharp minor and F sharp major. And you can actually see here, ironically, this first chord is the D sharp minor. But we're actually not even using D sharp as the root note, right? Technically, the lowest note in this chord is actually the 5th, A sharp. But you hear when I play D sharp, see, that really sounds like the root note. That's the key we're in, D sharp minor. And then up here, it's really just like different voices inside of that scale. Like I said, so you start with your root note, and then the 5th, you can put the 5th either up or down like that if you want. And then we're just using different notes from that scale. Pretty straightforward. We got a minor 7th, C sharp. We've got another root note. There's where you get the basic D sharp minor chord, because you get root note, minor 3rd, 5th, but even then, to throw that off, there's a 6th up there, and you're hearing those two right up against each other. And those kind of chords where you have a lot of notes and then you have somewhere either in the middle or on top, these two, which are like right under each other, that gives you that really jazzy feel. You can see I did it over here too. And this one, so again, this is the F sharp major. But see, like, we're doing little things to throw it off. Like, this is just a basic. This one, we don't even have a different note as the root note, right? The lowest note is the root note on this one. But then here, okay, so we have our major 3rd. But then I added a 4th right on top of it. So you still get the jazzy 2 dissonant notes. And even just having, like, the melody happen on top, this. Right? You're hearing that. Da-na-na. Playing out over top of the chords. It's all that coming together. Now, for the sound, it's made with 4 layers. So this is how you get these big, lush kind of jungle pads. It's essentially using a few different layers with different movements to add up to create the sound. Because when you hear this, it obviously sounds pretty complex. And I think if you tried to do all this with one patch, you would end up with something that sounded very similar, very close, especially if you knew what you were doing, but you would never quite get all the way there. And it's because, essentially, like I said, this is made up of different movements happening. So you can see, like, this first one here. So this is like this detuned FM pad with some sine waves. It's also got some chorus. And this, on its own, so it's got a bandpass filter, and then this LFO, which is opening and closing that. Right? And that's like a slow one. But then we add that with this, which is another FM pad. And this has an LFO on the filter as well. But now, see, this is faster. See, this one's doing the vroom, 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 vroom. Plus, there's an attack and sustain and decay on the filter. Like a little envelope. So you're getting while it's whoop, 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 whoop. And then that's adding up with the slow movement on the bandpass filter, that last one. And you can hear they start to fit together. Then we add in this wavetable, which is just a bunch of unison on the square wave, and then a low pass filter with a little LFO on it, which is just going. Right, so then you add that onto the stack. And then finally, we just have this choir here, which you can see I looped up. And that gives us like a solid background layer. So we have all the ones that have filters moving, and then one that's just steady the whole time to fill it in. And that's how you create that sound, because this way, it really comes together. You know, and it's not too much emphasis on any one layer. Then we have a bit of reverb, high pass filter. I have the bass. Which is this classic sort of jungle bass. And what we're actually doing here that's really making this interesting is we're actually using the fourth, right? Because we're in the key of D sharp minor. But if you look here, this is actually based around G sharp and then B. So technically the fourth of each of these chords, but if I put it up a few octaves, you can see how that fits in musically, and it's really gonna just make that a lot more interesting than if you just stuck to the root notes. As far as the actual pattern, it's almost like an 808, right? And the way you create these kind of jungle bass patterns is it's using 8th notes. It's this dong, do do dong, dong, do do. It's very like, it's almost like reggae kind of meets trap patterns a little bit. Now, for the sound here, I made this with wavetable. And basically what this is it's just a basic sine wave E type of bass, obviously. But there's a few little things to just kind of take it a step forward. So we've got a sine wave mixed with a triangle wave, so already we're adding a bit more harmonic content. And then I have the amp envelope set like that, so it's like this little bass stab. But also there's a short pitch envelope, like super short, on the overall pitch. So that's how you get that 808 going boom, 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 like really having the impact. Because if you turn that off, it's not going to punch, and it's really not going to punch in the mix. So we've got that, and then just a little bit of amp, just to kind of fatten it up a bit. Kind of fill it out. And then we have these FM strings. And you can hear what's happening there. These really are meant to fit over top of those chords. It's meant to be a different synth that plays some like additional notes that are going to fill that out. So what's happening here is it's just 2 note chords. It's an F sharp droning, and then this A sharp going up to C sharp. So if we're looking at this musically, it's the minor 3rd being held down, and then the 5th going up to the minor 7th. And then if you put that over top of your main chords, it's going to fit really well. Now for the sound, this is another one of these cool FM pads. So you can see it's 4 sine waves here, detuned a little bit, all at different octaves. And then we have a filter, a low pass filter with an envelope on it, opening and closing that. Plus we have an LFO on the filter cutoff. So it's kind of like that one above where you're getting the slow open and the woom woom woom. Then we've got a bit of chorus and some reverb. And then the last actual like instrument here is this piano. So this is super like jungle drum and bass. I'll actually talk about the sound because I want to show you. This is literally just Ableton's grand piano. Even if you have the most basic version of Ableton, you have this. A lot of people ask how to get a great piano sound. And the truth is, I don't think it actually takes that much. I think if you play bad notes into a really, really good piano, you'll be like, oh my god, this is an amazing piano sound. If you play good notes into a bad or just like okay piano, like the Ableton Grand Piano, you'll be like, okay, this is still really amazing. Like, it's not really about the sound, because having those notes is gonna sound dope no matter what. So it's just this piano with a bunch of reverb, and you can see the reverb creates this cool thing where you play the notes into it, like going up the scale like that, and then it creates this beautiful pad ringing out. And you can see it fits really well with the key too. So the actual notes here, it's literally just playing as if we were, again, like using that fourth, like, we're using G sharp as our root note. And musically, this is, okay, so we got fourth, fifth, sixth, fourth, root note, fourth, fifth, sixth, root note, fifth, sixth. So it's like just a few notes across different octaves, but again, it's really just how it's fitting in there. Alright, so then we have the drums. So it starts with this hi-hat, which is meant to sit over top of the break and kind of add some movement. Also, this would work really well, like, let's say you have your arrangement kind of like this, like, no break, no bass for a little bit. Right, you have this, and then it's still gonna sit there in the part with all the breaks, but obviously it's meant to kind of fit in for places where you don't have that as much as well. So yeah, it's just a simple pattern. You can see it takes a little break in the middle, because I had it looping, like I had it just doing that over and over. It's better to give it the space, like have it play hectic in this first 2 bars, then give it a break here, then hectic, then give it a break. It's just like giving things that space. Now this is a simple sound. It's made with operator. It's just a little bit of white noise with a short envelope, bandpass filter with an envelope on that, and then just a bit of delay. Pretty simple. And then we have the breaks. Now I was really trying to show you how to get the texture as well as the chopping, and not just like take one break and chop it and leave it dry and be done, but really how to get like what you guys are hearing in these different artists that you're trying to figure out how to do. So basically the way you're going to do that is it's usually going to be about 2 breaks. Any more than that is too full, and you can get away with 1 break too. It really just depends on what sounds good, but here it's 2 different breaks where you can hear they're doing 2 different things. They're playing the exact same pattern. It's not that, but it's 2 different things sonically, where this one, it's obviously all the highs, and this is the mid-range and the punch and the lows. And each one on their own wouldn't really fill it out, right? Because this one has a lot of punch and fullness in the low end, but it's not got that like punch in the highs to it. And then this one doesn't have the full lows, but it has the like the kick really punches. So you put them together, and you get one really full thing. And that's really just layering in general. That's not even like breakbeats. That's just like how to layer things. Like, that's not, processing or anything more than just having 2 good samples that fit together based on the qualities that are already there before you do any processing. So then I'll talk about the chopping. You can hear it's not actually that complicated. You're basically taking this in chunks. Like, you see I have this, so then like I duplicated that there and kind of chopped it a little. Or like, it's just these little, you want to think of it in terms of like, and then you can take that and duplicate, like, you know what I mean? Like that's really the technique for it, more so than it is me saying like, this isn't like music theory. There isn't like a really a textbook, I can tell you. The other thing here I think that I did really well here, for one, just getting them to match up, right? Just, even if you're using 2 separate breaks, You want to pretty much make sure they're playing the same pattern if you're trying to do this really technical thing here. But also, it's these little reverses. Just taking like 2 little eighth notes like that and reversing them. Or even here. Just having that, you know, all you have to do is just highlight a little section and hit R. It's very easy in Ableton now. But that adds a lot of movement to those breaks. And then the last thing really to talk about here would be the processing. And particularly using some saturation. So you can see on this first, well, on the lower break here, just a bit of drum bus. Here's without it. Which I'll turn off all the processing. So here's with no processing. Right, it's very clean and punchy. And then I added a bit of drum bus, which is just blended in there as a layer. And then there's the saturation on the group, which is also blended. So there's that. And then on the other break, we're using a bit of saturation to kind of get some more, like the wave shaper can really get that like bright crunch you can hear. And then that's being blended, high pass. And then on the group, like I said, I have another wave shaper. So here's without it. And with it. And what it really does is it makes these sound like one break. Like when you put them together under this sonic umbrella, so to speak, it really makes it feel like just one breakbeat. And that's the goal, is taking these different sounds and these different classic breaks and really like doing little things like just a 30% wet saturator like this to make them into something new and something fresh for the future. So that's gonna be it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe, and let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get this full project file, samples, MIDI, presets, literally everything from this video is available right at the top of the description on my website. Thank you so much for the support, guys, and I will see you tomorrow with another video.